I did it.
Great job.
I do another lucky flower.
Yes, you did.
It took me a while to come up with what the plan was going to be for this corner. And essentially what we have to do is we have to maintain clearance off of the metal roof to the wood of the soffit and the wallboard, and we've got to direct the water. And really it's as simple as that. There's nothing else to it. All right, so this is what we're doing up in here. I've just taken this piece and I've got it jammed back into there as best I can. You know, it's just got support here and here, but it's not going to be really holding any weight. And I'm going to be putting a flashing that comes down, you know, into this space. So it's going to be in there and it's going to be good. I don't think it's going to cause any issues. And it's, you know, it's notched to set in, and this soffit's going to come down and just cut it at an angle to come down to the corner here. Well, that's currently what we got and what we're planning. I've already got all of this, as you saw, taped down to as far as I could get, and now I'm putting on some drip edge, and I'm going to do this section, put a little patch piece at the end there. I think, you know, I don't necessarily know that I need it. We'll have the flash that comes down, you know, up and then over to create a little valley there in the corner once we've got the soffit on. And actually I think that goes before the soffit, because soffit's supposed to be off of the metal by an inch. Anyway, we've been doing the gutter before, so I'm going to be doing the gutter probably after on this run. I don't know that that's going to be a problem. I don't think it will be, but that's currently the plan. Got part of the gutter and part of the wall standout flashing.
Got a whole plant of it out.
Casey and the boys are pulling out kohlrabi. It elected to grow vegetatively, but it did not put on the little bottom bulb that you actually eat. So I guess you could say we got the rabi without the kohl. Well, maybe we got the kohl without the rabi. All right, it is super duper hot today. 97, 98 degrees, at least for Oregon, that's quite hot. And I'm taking you up to show you what I'm working on here right in the middle of the sun in the afternoon, because, well, that's where I need to be. So gutter work, roofing work, actual roofing on this lower thing. Let's get this turned over here and we can try and get our eyes on it. Back up under the eave here, we've got a complex little joint here. I'm going to be buttoning those two together, kind of right up there at that top piece. But it's, you know, end wall, drip edge, and I fashioned this one into a different angle to match the soffit that's going to be coming down. And there's enough grab there for me to have at least an inch and a half, 2 inches even, without the soffit being more than an inch away. Back in here, let me get this out of here. It's in here, but it will come back out if I ask it very nicely. All right, so set that down there for now, and I'll show you what's going on here. So I'm gonna be putting double bead of butyl right there on that. That is a Z flash that I have turned into a 7 with a leg, you know, to match that same angle, and it tucks back up to there and flashes up onto the back part there. And so, you know, we've got one last little leg that I'll have to cut and get up into this space, but it's just flush with the fascia. And yes, same as the other trim piece, these guys are wrong. They are the wrong angle, but they're fighting me, so I'm just gonna put them up and never do business with them again. But here we go. I'm not worried about this. I am gonna put a caulk line of some Lexel on that just to fill that up, and we're also gonna have a closure right through there. But if it does get behind in this one little back corner spot somehow, you know, I'm not worried about it. It's going to come down. There's a weep spot here. There's one here on the edge where we don't have the butyl, And every so often I'm putting in those little gaps in the butyl for it to be able to get stuff out if stuff gets in. Butyl is on, Lexel is on, and we got that corner trim on. It is secured only down there for now. I'm not going to put in an attachment here until we get this triangle piece in, and I'm just not prioritizing that right now. But this is going to work pretty nicely, I think. Some very good sweaty progress here. We've got the sheets more than halfway on this little miniature roof. Pretty close to full extension for what I'm able to do. And next we just have to get the end wall trim fully secured down after getting on the vent closure. So I did take the end wall trim off. These are supposed to take a washer head, rubber washer head screw, so the type that can be visible, up underneath instead of the pan heads. So this is the uncovered area, and obviously I've got this guy here. Now this should be flush down to those. That's the way it's supposed to be. It is not. I gotta deal with it, but it will allow me in this particular case to deal with the fact that it's so hot that the glue on these is just a liquid. It's not that tacky. So I'm gonna, in order to install these, I gotta kind of roll these on and then start bringing those heads down to hold that in place. I'm dripping sweat out here and probably sunburned at this point. I don't know why I did this to myself, but I did. But yeah, I'm also kind of ticked off. Let me show you something. So it looks pretty good. Just got to get the tape on, right? And I did get, right there you can see that I have the foam closure. It's the wrong size. It's supposed to be 1.25 inches thick, and it's 1 inch. It's designed for a 3/4 size rib. These are 1-inch size ribs. It's what Streamline is. The guy just ordered the wrong thing yet again. I'm losing my mind. I'm losing my mind. Losing my mind.
Careful. Damien, come up by mommy.
Yeah, can you go up by mommy? There's 2 fat boys on this particular escalator.
Damien,
Come.
Grandpa's trying to protect you.
Hey, fan! Woohoo! Look at this
Yay.
fan! Why is the one guy going down?
Because they've been up for a while.
Welcome, Daddy!
So we got a little bit of paint touch-ups to do still, but we are up to the peak up there with the soffit in, if you can see that. The glare of the nastiness. The soffit headed up that direction. Got a little funny one to cut in the corner here. And then same will be for the other side, only without the lift. Good morning. So I'm going to be headed over to the supplier, not my normal supplier, but the one who did the metal roofing this morning. And we're going to be picking up, hopefully picking up, or at least ordering the right type of foam closure for our rooftop. So I did get them to where you can't really see them. They are tucked all on that line, but I'm going to probably end up taking all that out, and I will reuse a little bit of it because the type I'm getting won't feel like that angle. And then I want some on the roof right there at the top underneath the ridge cap, and the type I'm getting, won't work for that. But everywhere else, wherever it's just going over the ribs, it's going to work a lot better. Having led sales people before and having been a salesperson myself, it's crazy to me that there was a correct item that's designed for these panels, and my salesman knew it because he had to go get the number from the same page as where the correct item was, and he got the item number for the wrong item to order it. And it doesn't even say it's for it. The other one specifically says it's for these panels, and that one does not. And it's crazy to me because they are more expensive, and as a salesperson, there's nothing more important in my mind than getting the right item to your customers. If they choose to use a lesser product or product that may not be the right fit, you can always give them that option, but you have to start with recommending the right thing. And he didn't even look at that or go over it with me, or note, hey, the better choice would be this. There was none of that, and that's just crazy to me. It's over the edge, and you can see that. And we have a gable trim here that is compensating both for if you have a little bit of some kind of an issue at the top where you're off by a little bit, and then it also comes up over the lip. It's got, I think, a shelf of 3 inches before it drops down and meets with the metal to get you over a rib. And it takes care of this. So you can see that all the way down there. Still have to patch in that little bitty corner piece of the fascia, but you can see that it's like that all the way down. And we have a dimensionally close to accurate but not fully accurate roof. The roof is definitely something that I feel like if I were to do it again now, I would do a lot better. And this side was a lot closer. This side, we had very little that we had to account for as far as that goes. It matched up to the fascia much better. But in any case, that's why you buy a piece of metal like that. And I knew that, with it being our first time doing a real roof on a house versus what we did on, the shop, which is a much smaller, structure, simpler, and it came, the trusses were pre-built. So I just had to verify their length, snip a little bit off of the end of 1 or 2 here and there. And other than that, it was a very simple roof line to build on the shop behind me. And, so with this structure, I did try my hardest to make sure that we came out correct, but needed to be prepared, to account for any differences. And, I feel like 3/4 of an inch as, the most, coming down to like, 0 is pretty good.
As a waiver.
Oh, how pretty. I love it. You gotta hold it still for me. Hi. You have a pretty flower, don't you? Yeah.
So we had to figure, where are the lines between the boards, and we've got, center of the building is right there, not quite perfect to the center of the window. Whoops. But that matches up with what we're doing down below, and I wanted to make sure the two matched up perfectly. So that if you looked and the sheets would appear stacked, the roof interrupts, but nevertheless. And so coming off that line, we have one there, a seam right there, which is, I'm hoping, going to match up. I might be able to adjust the batten ever so slightly, but it should still be within the width coming off for the trim piece. And then one there, one there, and one there, and one there. Our window trim minus the headers goes on after with these. So the board's going to go on, and then the trim will go on, and the batten will go on. But the header needs to be flashed back to the wall. And so we're going to have to take our, everywhere else it's 1 inch depth of trim, and here it needs to be 1 1/8 in order for it to, you know, match up to what's being butted up against it if it's flush to the wall. The board is 3/8, and then you're like looking at basically 3/4 for this trim. That's why that board up there, if it's all the way back to the wall and then has the head flash back to the wall, that's why it's got to be different. So one of my character flaws is I will say something and recognize that it needs to be a particular way, and then somehow short circuit and do it wrong even after specifying what is correct. And I'm gonna have to take off all these blue strips, and except for the horizontals, and do them again. Let me show you why. Here's our center line mark, and that is the center of the center board, 16 inches. And so initially I was like, oh, I put the tape on it. I put the tape to 8 inches being there, and then was like, now 16, so 24 over to here, there we go. Except that literally just brought it back into being 16 inches on center as the center versus the center of the center board. And so now I'm gonna have to move all these. You can see, well, there's one there and it's now here. This one is now here. And all of these verts and up above, they've all got to move. And the only reason that I noticed it is because I got to that one and I was like, wait a tick, that should be like, that's not right. Basically, the first thing I do most days tends to be wrong. I should know that by now. All right, so we got our little piece for the corner here. And at this point, obviously, I'm not putting these screws in into this piece here. And I don't think that's going to cause any problems. I will probably put 1 or 2 face screws in, and I don't think that's going to cause us any problems. So these do kind of go up in there with some difficulty this way. I'll show you here. I think I'm scoring the paint, and that's about the only real issue that I'm having. Get that nice and situated. That's kind of going to be what it's going to look like. You do have, you know, this flashing behind here that'll catch any water that comes down. I think we're good. So we're doing a little this and that. We've kind of got everything marked off. A little windy up here, and you can see I've got the blue strips up. I did have to adjust them, so there's that. And right now I just received and I'm testing out our gutter guards. So this is a kind of a middle grade option, and they seem nice and solid. You can see essentially I'm just clicking them into position. I do have to bend them ever so slightly. I'm sticking them up underneath the lip there. It's got a back end and a front end. And with this installation, there's 2 options, but with our installation, it's essentially just going to be 1, 2, 3 screws right into the front section of your gutter. It's in there too, it's not coming out. It's got nice overlap. We put essentially 3/4 inch is what we shot for with our roof. And so it's tucked up underneath there really nice. Water's gonna hit that. And hopefully, I mean, the only real concern is the fir needles. And this is a fine mesh, so it should keep them out. Hopefully they just don't plug it. We'll have to just live that life and see. The other thing I wanted to show you is that you got this done. So you got your inch of clearance running up there. It's a little bit less at the top, but it should be fine. It's pretty well in the rain shadow. Lap is pretty good, easy enough to work. Looks nice. It's a little wet, a little summertime rain. Not actually all that wet. Look at the road, you can see that. Anywhere where there's trees covering the overhead, it didn't get wet, but setting up to paint today, and there's still a chance of rain. So the part that I really want to get painted first with blue, our outside color, is these pieces here. And so they were all wet, and I'm just brought them inside, wiping them down, and then we'll get started just hand painting instead of working the main sprayer. And of course, I'd rather not be hand painting. I'd rather do a big batch, but I am very excited to get the first boards like our actual house color painted and see what it looks like. Thanks for watching. I hope you have a great day, and we'll see you next time.